Page, swine flu and road rage, fine Maddie, foreign baddie, put him in a big cage, bureaucratic red tape, Facebook gang rape, Gordon out, Dave in before the country caves in, Ian Huntley gets his own jacuzzi and a gym in jail. It's absolutely true because I read it in the Daily Mail. Bring back capital punishment for paedophiles, photo feature on schoolgirl skirt styles, binge Britain, single mums, pensioners, hoodie scum, oversexed and underage, foreign stories half a page, criminals get Marks and Spencer's vouchers when released on bail. It's absolutely true because I read it in the Daily Mail. Ban this gay smut, I'm not racist, but car crime, knife crime, hang the cheating wife time, pop stars take drugs, teen boys wear hoods, sports stars have sex, bear shit inwards, Brussels politicians want to stop us drinking English ale. It's absolutely true because I read it in the Daily Mail. Climate gate, petrol prices, potholes, credit crisis, gypsies, Russell Brand, time we all took a stand, modern art, where to start, trashed a lot of it, apart from statuette, a puppy, 50 quid plus P&P, Muslim women hiding stolen goods behind their veil. It's absolutely true because I read it in the Daily Mail. Poles paid to give blood, immigration like a flood, soft touch, British Isles, cancer from your mobiles, cancer from your laptop, cancer from your root crop, cancer from your shoes, from your dog, from your pen top, immigrants arriving on an unprecedented scale. It's got to be the case if it's written in the Daily Mail. They never mince their words in the good old Daily Mail. It's absolutely true, because I gather all my views from the Daily Mail. Thanks, Dan. Nice one. I'm just going to go and wash my hands, I think. I would if I were you.
tiny song. In this grey, unpleasant land, we're all on trial by the spectacle and service with a smile. We will not rest from mental fight to turn the spectacle, what we need, oh, what we need, what we need, oh, what we need is anarchy all over the world. It's the remedy, what we need, oh, what we need, what we need, oh, what we need is anarchy all over the world. It's the remedy, private power, private lives and private power, what we need's a remedy. What we need, oh, what we need, what we need, oh, what we need is anarchy all over the world. It's the remedy, what we need, oh, what we need, what we need, oh, what we need is anarchy all over the world. It's the remedy.
CNN Breaking News.
Hello, everyone. I'm Don Lemon in the CNN Newsroom. We are going to begin tonight with breaking news at the top of the hour here on CNN. The person who says he leaked top secret information about a U.S. government surveillance program has emerged from the shadows and identified himself. He is Edward Snowden, and he says he was privy to classified details of the so-called PRISM program when he worked for the CIA. National security officials do confirm that PRISM exists and that it secretly tracks telephone and computer communication for anti-terrorism work. Snowden says he walked away from a six-figure defense contracting job in Hawaii, is hiding in Hong Kong, and intends to seek permanent asylum abroad. Already, we have reaction from Capitol Hill. Republican Congressman Peter King wants Snowden prosecuted and wants him back in the United States. King calls a leak of top secret information a matter of extraordinary consequence to American intelligence. And I want to say we're getting this information in from the White House. The White House will not respond. We're told by our folks at the White House Deputy Press Secretary Josh Earnest told reporters on the tarmac at Joint Andrews Air Base that there would be no comment tonight from the White House on the identification of the NSA leaker. And President Barack Obama, on arrival on the South Lawn via Marine One, did not answer questions shouted by reporters about the NSA whistleblower. We are getting some new information in, though. This is from the Director of National Intelligence in Washington. New information just into CNN. It says, we have seen the latest report from The Guardian that the identities that identifies an individual claiming to have disclosed information about highly classified intelligence programs in recent days. Because a matter has been referred to the Department of Justice, we refer you to the Department of Justice for comment on any further specifics of the unauthorized disclosure of classified information by a person with authorized access. The intelligence community is currently reviewing the damage that has been done by these recent disclosures. Any person who has a security clearance knows that he or she has an obligation to protect classified information and abide by the law. That is Sean Turner, Director of Public Affairs, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Again, that is the official word from the government tonight. Again, the White House is not responding tonight, not making any comment, but the Director of National Intelligence, through a spokesperson, they are commenting tonight. You're about to see the entire on-camera interview that Edward Snowden gave the Guardian newspaper. And remember, he is holed up in a hotel in Hong Kong, and he says he can never return to the United States after what he did. Here's Edward Snowden explaining why he gave away American secrets. Listen.
My name's Ed Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton as an infrastructure analyst for NSA in Hawaii.
What are some of the positions that you held previously within the intelligence community?
I've been a systems engineer, systems administrator, senior advisor for the Central Intelligence Agency, solutions consultant, and a telecommunications information systems officer.
One of the things people are going to be most interested in trying to understand what who you are and what you're thinking, is there came some point in time when you crossed this line of thinking about being a whistleblower to making the choice to actually become a whistleblower. Walk people through that decision-making process.
When you're in positions of privileged access, like a systems administrator for these sort of intelligence community agencies, you're exposed to a lot more information on a broader scale than the average employee. And because of that, you see things that may be disturbing, but over the course of a normal person's career, you'd only see one or two of these instances. When you see everything, you see them on a more frequent basis. And you recognize that some of these things are actually abuses. And when you talk to people about them, in a place like this where this is the normal state of business, people tend not to take them very seriously and, move on from them. But over time, that awareness of wrongdoing sort of builds up, and you feel compelled to talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you're ignored, the more you're told it's not a problem. Until eventually you realize that these things need to be determined by the public, not by somebody who is simply hired by the government.
Talk a little bit about how the American surveillance state actually functions. Does it target the actions of Americans?
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. So while they may be intending to target someone associated with a foreign government or someone that they suspect of terrorism, they're collecting your communications to do so. Any analyst at any time can target anyone, any selector, anywhere. Where those communications will be picked up depends on the range of the sensor networks and the authorities that that analyst is empowered with. Not all analysts have the ability to target everything, but I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
One of the extraordinary parts about this episode is that usually whistleblowers do what they do anonymously and take steps to remain anonymous for as long as they can, which they hope often is forever. You, on the other hand, have decided to do the opposite, which is to declare yourself openly as the person behind these disclosures. Why did you choose to do that?
I think that the public is owed an explanation of the motivations behind the people who make these disclosures that are outside of the democratic model. When you are subverting the power of government, that's a fundamentally dangerous thing to democracy. And if you do that in secret consistently, as the government does when it wants to benefit from a secret action that it took, it'll kind of give its officials a mandate to go, hey, tell the press about this thing and that thing, so the public is on our side. But they rarely, if ever, do that when an abuse occurs. That falls to individual citizens, but they're typically maligned. It becomes a thing of these people are against the country, they're against the government, but I'm not. I'm no different from anybody else. I don't have special skills. I'm just another guy who sits there day to day in the office, watches what's happening, and goes, this is something that's not our place to decide. The public needs to decide whether these programs and policies are right or wrong. And I'm willing to go on the record to defend the authenticity of them and say, I didn't change these. I didn't modify the story. This is the truth. This is what's happening. You should decide whether we need to be doing this.
Have you given thought to what it is that the U.S. government's response to your conduct is, in terms of what they might say about you, how they might try to depict you, what they might try to do to you?
Yeah, I could be, rendered by the CIA. I could have people come after me, or any of their third-party partners. They work closely with a number of other nations, or they could pay off the triads, or any of their agents or assets. We've got a CIA station just up the road in the consulate here in Hong Kong, and I'm sure they're going to be very busy for the next week. And that's a fear I'll live under for the rest of my life, however long that happens to be. You can't come forward against the world's most powerful intelligence agencies and be completely free from risk, because they're such powerful adversaries that no one can meaningfully oppose them. If they want to get you, they'll get you in time. But at the same time, you have to make a determination about what it is that's important to you. And if living unfreely but comfortably is something you're willing to accept, and I think many of us are, it's the human nature. You can get up every day, you can go to work, you can collect your large paycheck for relatively little work against the public interest, and go to sleep at night after watching your shows. But if you realize that that's the world that you helped create, and it's going to get worse with the next generation and the next generation who extend the capabilities of this sort of architecture of oppression, you realize that you might be willing to accept any risk. And it doesn't matter what the outcome is, so long as the public gets to make their own decisions about how that's applied.
Why should people care about surveillance?
Because even if you're not doing anything wrong, you're being watched and recorded. And the storage capability of these systems increases every year consistently by orders of magnitude, to where it's getting to the point you don't have to have done anything wrong. You simply have to eventually fall under suspicion from somebody, even by a wrong call. And then they can use the system to go back in time and scrutinize every decision you've ever made, every friend you've ever discussed something with, and attack you on that basis to sort of derive suspicion from an innocent life and paint anyone in the context of a wrongdoer.
We are currently sitting in a room in Hong Kong, which is where we are because you've traveled here. Talk a little bit about why it is that you came here, and specifically there are going to be people who will speculate that what you really intend to do is to defect to the country that many see as the #1 rival of the United States, which is China, and that what you're really doing is essentially seeking to aid an enemy of the United States with which you intend to seek asylum. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So there's a couple assertions in those arguments that are sort of embedded in the questioning of the choice of Hong Kong. The first is that China is an enemy of the United States. It's not. I mean, there are conflicts between the United States government and the Chinese PRC government, but the peoples inherently, we don't care. We trade with each other freely. We're not at war. We're not in armed conflict, and we're not trying to be. We're the largest trading partners out there for each other. Additionally, Hong Kong has a strong tradition of free speech. People think, oh, China, great firewall. Mainland China does have significant restrictions on free speech, but the people of Hong Kong have a long tradition of protesting in the streets, of making their views known. The internet is not filtered here, no more so than any other Western government. And I believe that the Hong Kong government is actually independent in relation to a lot of other leading Western governments.
If your motive had been to harm the United States and help its enemies, or if your motive had been personal material gain, were there things that you could have done with these documents to advance those goals that you didn't end up doing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anybody in the positions of access with the technical capabilities that I had could, suck out secrets, pass them on the open market to Russia. They always have an open door, as we do. I had access to, the full rosters of everyone working at the NSA, the entire intelligence community, and undercover assets all around the world, the locations of every station we have, what their missions are, and so forth. If I had just wanted to harm the U.S., that you could shut down the surveillance system in an afternoon. But that's not my intention, and I think for anyone making that argument, they need to think, if they were in my position, and you know, you live a privileged life, you're living in Hawaii in paradise and making a ton of money, what would it take to make you leave everything behind? The greatest fear that I have regarding the outcome for America of these disclosures is that nothing will change. People will see in the media all of these disclosures. They'll know the lengths that the government is going to grant themselves powers unilaterally to create greater control over American society and global society. But they won't be willing to take the risks necessarily to stand up and fight to change things, to force their representatives to actually take a stand in their interests. And the months ahead, the years ahead, it's only going to get worse until eventually there will be a time where policies will change, because the only thing that restricts the activities of the surveillance state are policy. Even our agreements with other sovereign governments, we consider that to be a stipulation of policy rather than a stipulation of law. And because of that, a new leader will be elected. They'll flip the switch, say that because of the crisis, because of the dangers that we face in the world, you know, some new and unpredicted threat, we need more authority, we need more power, and there will be nothing the people can do at that point to oppose it, and it'll be turnkey tyranny.
And now the fallout for you, Americans, for our government, politically, and for that young man, from people who know. Bob Baer, a former CIA operative, will join us. Tom Fuentes, a former FBI assistant director, and Daniel Ellsberg, a whistleblower of the Pentagon Papers, right after the break. Leaking details of a top-secret American program to British and American newspapers may be brazen, but what Edward Snowden did wasn't the first time an American has leaked secret government data. In 1971, an American military analyst named Daniel Ellsberg gave a New York Times reporter a copy of a Department of Defense study on U.S.-Vietnam relations, a series of documents that later became known as the Pentagon Papers. Ellsberg became the first person prosecuted under the 1917 Espionage Act for releasing classified information to the public. The case was later thrown out after the judge learned that the government had engaged in the illegal wiretapping of Ellsberg. Daniel Ellsberg joins me now live from Berkeley, California. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So, what do you think of all of this?
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very impressed by what I've heard in the last couple of hours, including Snowden's own video here. I think he's done an enormous service, incalculable service. It can't be overestimated to this democracy. It gives us a chance, I think, from drawing back from the total surveillance state that we, I could say, are in process of becoming. I'm afraid we have become. That's what he's revealed. I really didn't expect that there was any chance of reversing that course toward what was called earlier total information awareness, total surveillance. I think if the public now is given authentic documents, official documents that Congress simply can't plausibly deny or plausibly claim ignorance of, maybe we will see hearings with genuine oversight that can rein in this extremely abusive surveillance program.
You've been waiting. First of all, you said you like what he has done, but he has broken the law.
Yes, you know, in this case, I would say he has clearly broken. I could even give you 18 U.S.C. 798, the Communications Intelligence Law. That is a clear-cut law, which, by the way, I support on the whole. Most of such communications intelligence deserves secrecy. I was cleared for that. I put none of that out. That's higher than top secret. I had the clearance for that, and I didn't put any out because this system that has just been disclosed did not exist then and could not exist, could not have existed. We just didn't have the physical digital capability for it. If I had known that the NSA, the National Security Agency, as I say, to which I had access, if I had known that they were spying on every American multiple times, different phone lines, bank data, credit cards, GPS, everything else, if I had known that, I would have done just what he's done. I would have broken that law as civil disobedience. And I must say, it would raise, he undoubtedly, they will make every effort to prosecute him. I think probably sooner or later they will succeed if worse doesn't happen to him. And it will be a very significant case to address the question, can it really be criminal to reveal secrets of unconstitutional activity? I have no doubt that this violates the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution and probably other parts of the Bill of Rights and should have been exposed. Can it really be a crime to expose crime? Or that's never been judged by any court, including the Supreme Court. I think this is a good time to look at it.
Now back to the original question.
If he'd given those documents to me right now, if I'd been made aware of what this government, an administration I've supported, by the way, in both elections, if I'd been aware, I certainly would have put them out, even though I would expect to go to jail for the rest of my life, as I did 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't have that much left in my life, but he does.
Yeah. Back to my original question that I was going to ask you before I changed course. You said you've waited decades for this moment?
Decades in the sense that of seeing somebody who really was prepared to risk his life for his country as a civilian, to show the kind of courage that we expect of people on the battlefield. There have been very good leaks, but there haven't been leaks of an enormous scale until Bradley Manning, by the way, who I also support, but he didn't have the kind of access that either I had or Snowden has had. It wasn't as valuable to the public to learn this. He had only field level information. But even then, I think that Snowden here now has opened the possibility for democratic debate on the question of whether we really want the executive branch to know every detail of the private life of every member of Congress, every member of the so-called oversight committees, which I would say have been shown to be totally co-opted here, every member of the so-called Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, which is shown to be what one former analyst has called a kangaroo court.
But Mr. Ellsberg, let me jump in here. With all due respect, you're going on the assumption that everything that Mr. Snowden is saying is accurate, and that may not be the case.
I think it's been authenticated by Mr. Clapper already. The Director of Central Intelligence has confirmed that there is a PRISM project, which was revealed actually by
I understand that, but that he had the capability and the capacity to get
Let me go
records and
further.
phone
I'll
calls
tell
and
you
to intercept
what I do
emails
assume.
for people as high as the President of the United States.
Yeah, let me tell you what I do assume. Far beyond what has been revealed so far, if there was a true investigation, and that would take a special committee, a select committee of Congress, in which very few members of the Oversight Committee currently ought to be on it, really, with the record that they've shown, except for Ron Wyden and Mark Udall. But if there was a select committee looking into this, like the Church Committee looked into the abuses of the CIA and NSA back after Watergate, I believe what they would find is that the CIA and I should say the NSA, FBI, just about, but essentially the NSA, collects everything and is not defined only by metadata, what they call metadata about the films. I am sure, I feel personally, subjectively sure, subject to this investigation, that they listen, that they have collected all the content of this, that they are not neglecting names inside the message, not just the to and from part. In short, I think they have everything, and that is the recipe for a potential tyranny in this country.
Daniel Ellsberg, thank you, sir. Appreciate you joining us here on CNN.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you for clicking through to view this exclusive brand new edition of Juice Rap News, back through with a global transmission with your host Robert Foster, and we're glad to begin by introducing this routine interview scheduled today with our regular US guest, now director of the NSA, General Baxter. Can you provide via satellite an update on the state of the empire?
Bob, I have to confide, I'm satisfied. In fact, I got no axe to grind. Our Nobel Peace Prize President Mastermind has a healthy appetite for sending drones to smash the lives of brown children, Muslims, I mean terrorist hoodlums.
Egregious.
Goddamn right we agree it's just. Every American will feel hot pangs of pride when they hear of this. But guess what I'm most excited about this finally happening?
What?
The court-martial of Private Bradley Manning. 3 years without trial and a touch of torture. That's how we punish dissent in the free world order. After this, no one will dare blow whistles or leak intel or question our right to read every single freaking email.
Oops. Did you just say you read everyone's emails?
What, emails? No, we don't read, scan, track, record, and store every detail.
At all?
No, sir. Not wittingly. Perhaps a few billion emails accidentally.
Okay, General. We're just getting sent a signal. It's the fearless journalist crusader, direct from Rio, the guardian of civil liberties, Sir Glenn Greenwald.
Robert, hello.
Hi, Glenn. What quest are you and your steed on?
A hero has leaked classified documents finally proving that the NSA has secretly obtained access directly to all the servers of Facebook, Apple, Yahoo, YouTube, Skype, and Google. This PRISM system for spying on users from the dark side of the moon will record everything that arrives on screens, emails, chats, Grindr feed. Rabbit, it took great courage from this whistleblower to decide to leak. They've taken a great risk in getting us, their fellow citizens, this critical glimpse into what is really happening behind the scenes.
Mark Zuckerberg, your position?
Word, sit back, listen, you're rocking with Zuckerberg, a nerd tactician.
So, PRISM?
What's that, PRISM? Never even heard of that system. Yeah, we got a program running, but we call it fascism.
Do your users like that?
A billion likes, cousin, and if you dislike something, here's my dislike button. I'm in charge, you f***ing turds. Interview's over, finished, ended. Mark Zuckerberg, CEO, bitches, unfriended.
Okay then. General, would you like to make a statement?
I'm disgusted.
You are? That's amazing.
I had no idea that this could occur. It's devastating.
Shocking. I concur. So will there be an investigation?
You betcha. We're gonna get those who broke their oath to the law.
Wonderful.
And hold them responsible. This has gone too far.
I think the whole world feels the same.
Call Gitmo! I'm personally gonna torture whoever leaked all this info.
Wait, what?
We've become a freaking culture of leaks. What if every uppity geek who happens not to agree with the state's tyranny decided to expose it to all and sundry?
That might lead to a revolution.
Indeed. See what I mean?
Look, we welcome this debate openly. Free speech is sanctified. Okay then, does the NSA keep...
Sorry, that's classified.
So what are the laws for the...
Access denied.
Well, how can we see...
Oops, debate time has expired.
Hold on. We're picking up another feed, this time from Hong Kong.
Glenn, it's me again. I got an update on what's going on.
Greenwald, we're gonna prosecute you for treason.
Your threats are no match for my shield, and you'll cower under the weight of words when I'm wielding my pen sword. By the power of Greenwald!
Did you have an update for the people?
Oh yeah, now, world, meet the brave leaker Edward Snowden. He's made a video to reveal his motives for whistleblowing. What's up, Edward?
Hey Glenn, what's up?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Me want big up the odd step of them Ellsberg and Manning, you know what I'm saying, eh?
Yo, Snowden, they're gonna come around here looking for you today.
Word?
Word. Busted.
Whistleblower, you know, see Eddie Snowden, them go blame. But leaking secrets out. The men that say are saying Eddie Snowden done betray the USA. But leaking secrets out. Whistleblower, you know, see Eddie Snowden, them go blame. But leaking secrets out. The men that say are saying Eddie Snowden done betray the USA. But leaking secrets out. Working for the men down in Hawaii. Finding me some baby and not PIB. But the Babylon for fire upon the civil liberty. So me decide to trade me safety for the sake of defend the law, me citizens privacy. If you see something safe, so me and follow me and be whistleblowers. You know, see Eddie Snowden, them go blame, but he can secrets out. The men that say I'm saying Eddie Snowden done betrayed the USA, but he can secrets out.
Well, dear viewers, that's about it for this edition. But it wouldn't be complete without some final questions. Whistleblowers, they leak in the public interest. Now what remains to be known is the public interested? If so, this might be a good day to exhibit it. Ignorance is a choice in the age of the internet. Many consider this all very bewildering. Some praise these acts as heroic, worthy of mimicking. Others condemn them as illegal and prohibited. But can't both be equally applicative? To be good humans, we're sometimes called upon to be bad citizens. Some nations were even born by breaking laws of the tyrannous. Do you support heroes from days of yore who, in order to cause reforms, disobey the law? Then what about those in the present who heed the same call? This is Robert Foster for Rap News. Good day to you all.
No plans at all. Evil man's always transcending. Follow like sheep, swallow everything. Always simpletons or pretending.
This is your moment of clarity from LeeCamp.net. The Bradley Manning trial is now underway because he let the world know that the U.S. is clearly guilty of war crimes. And at the same time, Edward Snowden has revealed that the National Security Agency is nearing completion of a full surveillance state in which none of our electronic communications are safe. You take these two cases together, and you see that something very grave is going on. A dark cloud is building over America. And that dark cloud can only be stopped by the strength of the American people standing up together. That dark cloud is, of course, whistleblowing. These motherfuckers cannot keep their mouths shut. Jesus Christ, these people are worse than altar boys. Can't keep a secret. Not a one. The Obama administration has prosecuted more government officials for whistleblowing than all previous administrations combined. Clearly, this is because there are more anti-American traitors to stamp out than ever before. And not because the Obama administration has gone off the rails and is abusing power and out of their minds. Of course, that's sarcasm. Bradley Manning saw war crimes being committed, the full-on murder of unarmed innocent civilians, including a Reuters journalist, on video, and he felt the need to tell the world. He felt the need to let the American people decide whether we wanted to support that. And for his brave decision, he may well spend the rest of his life behind bars. Meanwhile, Lindy England, the soldier who piled Iraqis into naked pyramids and dragged them around in dog collars and other things you thought were strictly reserved for the pages of Ann Coulter's tell-all, she spent 521 days in prison. The ringleader, Charles Grainer, was sentenced to 10 years. And I assume the pilots of the helicopter that actually gunned down those civilians have served no time. So we're saying that if you commit war crimes as a soldier, you serve little or no time. But if you reveal war crimes, then you are a fucking stain on this democracy of hypocrisy. You told people about the dirty shit we're doing? We're gonna lock you in a tiny cage until you die. Scooter Libby and Karl Rove outed an active CIA agent, not a day in jail. Dick Cheney shot a dude in the face! In the face! With a gun! And the face is like the most important part of a person. With Bradley Manning, as with Edward Snowden, people say they should have shut up and done their jobs, followed orders. You know, there were some trials a long time ago where several guys were accused of really bad shit, and they said, we were just following orders. We were being good soldiers. And the world community decided, not good enough. If you see bad shit, or you're asked to do bad shit, following orders is no excuse. Those trials were called the Nuremberg trials, and a bunch of Nazis were found guilty of war crimes. So although I'm not a lawyer, it seems to me like Bradley Manning could have been prosecuted under the Nuremberg principles if he had not brought the crimes to the world's attention. And now is when you can do something. Manning and perhaps Snowden will not only be tried in court, they will be tried every day in public opinion. We should all talk about the courage it took for Manning to stand up, talk about the bravery it took for Edward Snowden to throw away a $200,000 a year job, a house in Hawaii, and perhaps his freedom, in order to reveal the illegal U.S. surveillance state. 200 grand a year? 200 grand? I could see leaking if you had a midnight shift over the fryer at McDonald's or a graveyard shift changing the pants on the mannequins at the Big and Tall store, then I understand. But 200 grand in Hawaii just to help the American people regain our freedom? God damn, that's impressive. I once saw an old lady fall on her face on a sidewalk outside the sports bar I was in, and I didn't help because I didn't want to lose my seat. I had a good angle on the TV. Good angle. I will say one bad thing about whistleblowers, though. Always such negative Nancy's. Have you noticed that? Never a positive word to say. So depressing, whistleblowers. Why not cheer people up for a change instead of always being so glum? You know, why not leak that cookie dough ice cream is very delicious? Or that you saw a bunny rabbit? You know, and instead of always war crimes and fascist governments intrusion in our lives. You ever think of that? You ever think of someone other than yourselves? We're very depressed out here. That's been your moment of clarity from LeeCamp.net. The music here at the end is a complex slate by my friends in the band Schemata Theory. A link to that video is in the description. Keep fighting.
He walked clumsily with his bound arms, but quite steadily, and once, in spite of the men who gripped him by each shoulder, he stepped slightly aside to avoid a puddle on the path. It is curious, but till that moment I had never realized what it means to destroy a healthy, conscious man. When I saw the prisoner step aside to avoid the puddle, I saw the mystery, the unspeakable wrongness of cutting a life short when it is in full tide. This man was not dying. He was alive, just as we were alive. He and we were a party of men walking together, seeing, hearing, feeling, understanding the same world, and in 2 minutes one of us would be gone. One mind less, one world less. It seemed to me worse than 1,000 murders. I could not go on any longer serving an imperialism which I had come to regard as very largely a racket.
That's all.
La 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 la.